I want to welcome everyone to today's Code Ninjas Executive Conference Call. We talk about a variety of different topics with Code Ninjas. November 17th today, we've experienced some great growth. I want to thank everybody for just taking some time out of their day to jump on the call, to learn a little bit more about Code Ninjas. We call these conference calls our discovery days. We call these learning channels, and we provide these for you to really learn more about Code Ninjas, what we're about, our story, and why the growth is a good question, actually a question we're getting quite frequently. My name is Marty Flanagan. I'm the Vice President of Franchise Development with Code Ninjas. Today we're going to talk a little bit about just really who we are. So we're going to talk about our performance. We're going to talk about our team's history. We're going to talk about our curriculum a little bit, our story, what the next steps are. And really one of the most exciting parts about these calls is we have a question and answer. The question and answer is at the end where you just hit *6. That allows you to kind of virtually raise your hand and ask whatever question you like. So as we go through today, if something comes up and you want to dig in a little bit deeper, remember at the end we are going to do that question and answer by just hitting *6 at the end. When I open that up, it'll allow you to ask your questions. So to kind of start off, what is the Code Ninja story? Who are we? What we're about? What's going on? Well, there's a few pieces to that. David Graham, the founder of Code Ninjas, he came. This really kind of came to him through just a lot of input. A lot of people asking questions. He ran a company. He actually founded a company called Coder Camps, developed that, built that with his team for about 5 years in 18 different cities, and throughout that time, it was a lot of questions being asked of how do I get my kids involved in this, or how do we really bring up the younger generation and know more about this, and that just kept coming up. But honestly, the curriculum just wasn't there a few years ago. And as David continued to do more and more research, he continued to see larger and larger gaps when it comes to teaching kids more about coding and programming development. So as time went along and he sold his past company and exited there, really started focusing and spending a lot of time on Code Ninjas. Code Ninjas from day one is built to be a franchise. We built Code Ninjas to be a franchise. We were not a center that was open and running and then somebody convinced us to be a franchise. And there's a reason for that, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and why we built this as a franchise from day one. But first I want to talk about what we are and what we're not. We're not just a curriculum company. When people ask us, why are you growing? Why the growth? Why are you accomplishing what only 18% of all franchises do in their lifetime? Why are you accomplishing that your first year of franchising? And it's because David and the team and I, we built this from the beginning to be a franchise. And we set everything in place for entrepreneurs to come on board, new entrepreneurs, experienced veteran entrepreneurs to come on board, see our concept, see what we're about, see our team, and see the tools we have in place that allow you to be successful with opening your Code Ninjas. When it comes to do we have a world-class curriculum? You bet we do. We have a proprietary blend of curriculum. That curriculum exists it has 9 different belts, white through black belt. Each belt has a learned set of skills that our students learn, and at the end of that belt, they build a game that is proprietary and is designed just for those learned set of skills, and that's how they progress through. And each belt compounds onto one another, so those skills are practiced. Those skills are ones that they are going to have learned through the entire process, that are not just going to be like drinking from a fire hose. Our program is a 3 to 4 year program. So we are a drop-in program. Kids come in 1-2 days a week. They stay for as little amount of time as they have, to up to an hour. There's no classroom settings. There's no sessions. Everything we do with our curriculum is only accessed inside of our center for the curriculum side of it. When it comes to the team, our team has a vast experience in teaching adults how to code, who are not new to the coding world and teaching code. And we have a team that's experienced in franchising, from franchise development, from franchise support, from marketing. And this team has been working together. So we are not new to working with one another. And when it comes to creating that system, the package as a whole and how we approach it, the marketing, the branding. We want to make sure that we demolish the wall of intimidation for parents and kids who really don't understand the world, this technology world, this coding world and programming. We want to have a warm, comfortable atmosphere where they walk in, and when they're learning about this and understanding that they even want to get their son or daughter involved, that's a very non-intimidating atmosphere. And so when they come in, we're able to explain to them and communicate with them the value of why the Code Ninjas curriculum is right for their son or their daughter, no matter where they're at in terms of their experience and knowledge and with coding and programming. So our team in general, when you think of support and behind it, why we designed this as a franchise and how we're moving forward is really the support structure. The support structure, is just as valuable as the product, as our curriculum. And the backbone of any great franchise is their support. We have a dedicated support team that works with you and allows you to have a resource, a human resource, an online resource, and collaboration with your franchisees. So we set this up from the beginning so you are not going to be on an island all by yourself, but you have continued resources to connect with franchisees, with a human inside the corporate office, and having a online resource that allows you to look at your day-to-day information growth and allows you to perform at a high level on your day-to-day, those coaching tools. And that's one reason, that's a few different reasons on why our performance has been what it has been over the last 11 months since 2017. Currently at 74 signed franchise agreements. That is most franchise, only 18% of all franchise systems reach 100 sold or signed franchise agreements in their lifetime. We're projected to reach that number by the end of the year. We are set up for this support. We're set up for the growth. So we are anxiously awaiting entrepreneurs to come aboard, see the value in Code Ninjas, and allow us to work with you in your community and inside your Code Ninjas. So when you think through how this applies and all this value that comes down to you, we really have all these different pieces to the puzzle, or if you want to say it's a toolbox, and we want you to choose what parts of this really apply to you in terms of what do you need. We have our real estate set up for you that have very experienced in franchising real estate. Our financial side of it set up that is very experienced in the financial broker side of it with franchisees. Even our internal design for our centers are having a rich franchising experience. So everything's in place for you to be able to use what's needed to be used to open your center as fast as you can get that center open, or as slow as you need to get it open inside the franchising guidelines. So that gives you a little bit of a history and what we're about and who we are. Our learning channels, like today's call, which we do these every single Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And the feedback we're getting from these calls is one that, that's why we keep doing them. Our calls average anywhere from 25 to 50 people per call. And the most exciting part about the call is really the question and answer. So as I went through this today a little bit and gave you a little bit of a brief history, if you have more questions, please, I'm looking forward to hearing them. Some of the questions we get are why the growth? What tools do you have? How can you show me? And that's where Jeff Thames and myself work with you one-on-one to be able to help you understand a little bit deeper of the how and the why. But again, today on this call, we can definitely touch on that. We also have our Discovery Days. Our Discovery Days, we originally started our Discovery Days off as more the merrier. And we recently changed that to it's not just about checking us out. Coming to Discovery Day is you really digging in deep with us, not scratching the surface. We're vetting you out at the same time you're vetting us out to be sure we're teaming up that this is the right team, that you're teaming up with us and we're right for you, and we're teaming up with you and you're right for us. And our Discovery Days, that's really what they're about. So our Discovery Days are a time for you really to dig in, get more personal, meet the team, and take a better look under the hood of who Code Ninjas is and all aspects of our business at our corporate office. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to transition into our question and answer. But before we get there, is understanding like next steps. What do I do from here? Where do I go from here? And it's really, if you have already been in contact with myself or Jeff Thames, you have to look to that as staying in contact. You know, people will ask what the next step is. Well, the next step is to always stay in contact with myself or Jeff Thames, because then we're always moving forward. You know, we have questions on territory sizes. How do your territories work? And if anybody on the call has questions on territories or the franchise agreement, feel free to ask those during our Q&A section. But it's staying in contact. The next steps are we have everything in a process, everything laid out for you, so you clearly understand what you need to do as you work your way through. What we're not is we're not a first buy, first get franchise for territory. What we are is we want you to be a part of our process. And as being a part of our process, it eliminates a cutthroat purchase and sale atmosphere, and it really allows you to be a part of the process and understand who we are. It takes a little bit longer, but it's obviously proven to be successful for Code Ninjas, where we are able to really allow you to really see more about who we are, be a part of the process, and us to you. So next steps, after this call today, if you do want to dig in deeper, we didn't touch on something, that's where you want to connect with myself and Jeff Thames. But we are going to move to this question and answer. So no question is off the table. So if you have questions regarding any aspect of Code Ninjas, I would love to be able to answer it. Q&As there's no time limit. So as you're asking questions, if we need to move on because the queue gets full, I may have to move on from one of your questions and then have you come back through and ask another question. But again, if you have questions on territories, how does it work? What do you look for? If you have questions on the franchise agreement, please ask. If you have questions on marketing, please ask. This is the time for you to ask any questions that may be lingering out there for yourself after your research or after doing some reading that you want to be able to ask. So I'm going to go ahead and move to that now. You may hear so feel free at any time to ask a question by hitting *6. *6 will virtually raise your hand, and then that'll allow me to kind of call on you and allows you to ask any questions that you may have. So when it comes to how we work through this, there's no time limit. So just if somebody asks a question and organically another one comes up, please feel free to ask. Hi, you have a question?
Hello, my name is Shauki. I'm from Lebanon. My question is, what about franchise, international franchise? Do you already exist anywhere outside the United States? And if not, and if possible, I'm interested to consider the Middle East and North Africa region. And
I would think, you know what, a good thing for you to do, and I appreciate the question, is go ahead and email me directly. And that's Marty, Marty, @codeninjas.com.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thanks for your question.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Hi, you have a question?
Hi, Marty. Just curious, when is Discovery Day normally scheduled out?
So we do Discovery Day every month, and we usually do it the second Thursday of every month. But in December, due to the holiday, we're at the first Thursday.
Okay, first Thursday.
Yeah, and that's in December 7th. So if you've been working with Jeff Thames, we can definitely help you understand what it is to attend a Discovery Day.
Okay, and then the second question is, and I know it may be kind of hard since you have the one branch there in Texas or the one store there in Texas. Do you have any sense of how long a student will participate in the program? If it's generally a 4-year program, are you expecting 20%, 30% to go through the entire program? Do you have any sense of that?
We don't currently. We set this up though, and worked with educators on the pacing of our program and the wins. So we want our kids to experience wins and have fun. I think when they stop having fun, or if the mom and dad have a financial reason, that'll be what we need to really look at. We've set this up to where kids can experience wins all the way through each belt, so they're feeling like they're competent in accomplishing their goals. We feel like we've done everything right with all the way through. Now it's just currently right now, I mean, the kids are obviously loving it and working their way through it. We haven't had somebody say that they're bored yet.
Sure. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for your question. I appreciate it. You have a question?
Hi, how are you doing? My name's Jim.
Hi, Jim.
So I had just a few questions about staffing. Generally, how many people do you need to staff the center? And I'm guessing that certainly depends on how many children are at the center, right? And from what I understand, the range is for a MAC center is somewhere between 30 and 50 kids at a full center. So then how many senseis do you generally recommend? I think I was told 10 students per sensei. And does each center need a director and or any other type of adult figure in addition to the senseis?
Well, great question, Jim. And so here's kind of one. I'm not sure where you heard the 30 to 50 at. I think that when you look at capacity, you have to look at your fire code in terms of the seating and in your square footage. So the 30 to 50, I'm not sure where that came in. I think you have to really look at fire code. You look at the size of your facility. You have to look how many seats you have. I think all that has to come into play. And the more direct question when it comes to our center director and senseis, so we run it. We say 8-to-1 is preferred, and 8-to-1, eight students to one sensei is preferred. When you look at any kind of a reoccurring, like a flat fee-based model like ours, where our parents pay a flat tuition rate per month and it's a drop-in setting, statistically in other drop-in center type of businesses, about 10% of your base would be using your center at any given 60-minute period of time. So it's really going to depend upon the number of students you have enrolled. We have the software in place. It's all proprietary that we built for just Code Ninjas that allows you to see your traffic flow. So you'll be able to gauge who you need to have on staff, when you need to have them on staff based on traffic flow, and also who you need to have on call for a sensei in case you end up pushing past what you have for that 8-to-1 ratio. A center director, you do need to have a center director inside your Code Ninjas. It's wise to have somebody there that can be constantly outreaching to the community, marketing your business, bringing in parents, letting them see the center. When kids are in school, it doesn't mean mom and dad stop shopping. So we definitely want to have a center director there that is going to be connecting with mom and dad on a regular basis if they have questions in following up on leads, making phone calls, having the center ready. And also, a lot of communities have great homeschooling programs and co-ops and private schools. Your center doesn't have to be shut down for business during the day. I mean, you can be inviting and going out and seeking other students that don't maybe go to the actual public school system. So when it comes to the number of senseis, that really is going to depend upon, you can open your center with one sensei and one director and then have a bench of senseis waiting that you've already interviewed and want to come on board when you need them.
And that's the 10% that you quoted at the very beginning is actually, I'm glad you did that. So that leads me to another question. So obviously you have to worry about the square footage of your place and fire code. So let's just say, for example, you can't have 1,000 active members because you could potentially have 100 there. You could potentially have 1,000 there at a time, but theoretically you'd have 100 there at a time, and that could conceivably be outside of the guidelines. So what is the ratio that you guys kind of configure, right? So let's say the center is fire code ready for 30 kids at a time. Do you recommend to have 300 people actively enrolled?
Well, I think you want to have as many people actively enrolled as you can. I think it's a good problem to have if you have too many kids enrolled. Then you can just open up another center up the road or expand your current center. I don't think there ever should be a ceiling on the number of students you enroll.
Interesting. Okay.
It's a good problem to have. If you have 300-400 kids,
absolutely, you're right.
Great problem to have, and I think you'll be excited to work with us to expand your center. You'll be excited to add on or to open another center closely, nearby to help with the overflow.
Right. Great. You're absolutely right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we don't have any other questions. Again, if you have any questions, it would be *6, and that will allow you to answer questions, ask any questions you might have. Wonderful. You have a question?
Yes. Hi there. My name is Susan. And my question's regarding, more like you said, the territory. You said you had franchise experts that would be able to do, I imagine, like a market analysis to see if your city would cater to this kind of business?
Yes.
Okay. So
yeah, definitely. So we have a software and everything we work on with you. So when you're working with myself or Jeff Thames, we actually will pull the data for you. We have a lot of information we can extract from the area. It's all 2017 data. So we use a mapping software. We can we work with you, nail down the cross street, look around. I do a ton of screen sharing so we can actually look together and find different little pockets and markets. We did this in Omaha. We did this in Iowa, where you wouldn't think the numbers worked, but Shreveport, Louisiana, but they do. And we work with you one-on-one and find these little pockets in your area that make sense. And that's really the great thing about coming on board early is we can really cherry pick your area with you.
Okay, that sounds good. Now, is that something we would do ahead of time, or is that something we go to Discovery Day and figure out together?
We like to do it before Discovery Day. So before coming to Discovery Day, we love to have your projection document completed, which we provide for you. And we want to be able to really nail down that market, like where you're going to be at. And that's part of the process, how I mentioned earlier, is that we work with you. So you say, hey, this is the market that I want. When you're in the process, Jeff Thames and I communicate on a regular basis to be sure that, if that's the market you're looking for, we want to work with you to be sure that when you come to Discovery Day, it's still available. And so that when you come to Discovery Day, you're not coming and then the market gets taken off from underneath you before you come to Discovery Day. So when you come to Discovery Day, we want your market available. We want you to be able to see it. And so you're not coming and then have to change gears halfway through.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, thanks. Hi, you have a question?
Hi, this is Dan in North Carolina.
Hi, Dan.
Hi. Hey, I just had a question about the location that I'm at and interested in. There's a metro area with a number of cities kind of, I'll say spoken wheel off of it. And right now with Code Ninjas, there are some other franchisees that are listed, on your website as taking some of the other cities, kind of near mine. I'm trying to figure out from a territory perspective do you sort of try to protect more space for those other territories if they want to grow more, or as I look at the city that I live in, which is I don't think has been spoken for yet, is that still open? I'm trying to understand kind of how much room you try to give each franchisee.
Yeah. Well, so currently the map's currently not updated with in North Carolina. It should be, because just yesterday or about a day and a half ago, 3 more locations were purchased in the Raleigh area, between Wake Forest and Apex and everything in there. So we have to really, when we're looking around, we don't protect anything outside of somebody's protected territory. So if somebody has a 3-mile radius, we're not protecting beyond that 3 miles.
Okay.
But what we do is we don't allow major encroachment, which means that a territory border can't majorly encroach. So somebody couldn't open up 3.1 miles away. We don't allow major encroachment into territories. And the territory that is being considered that is outside a current franchisee's territory, the numbers have to make sense to support that Code Ninjas. We can't just open it up because it's near one that can support it. And we want to make sure that it can support it, the numbers make sense, and there's not major encroachment onto the other franchisee's territory.
Sure, that helps a lot. And I'm assuming that the projection document, is that something that you work with me on to help complete? Would that help show whether there's an opportunity there?
Well, the projection document really goes over your cost of doing business and revenue. We help with your cost of doing business, but we don't help with the revenue besides give you the framework. And if you've been working with Jeff or myself, we give you that email that shows you the framework where you can then build the revenue side of it. But the cost of doing business, we can help you with that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, thanks. Hi, you have a question?
Yeah, this is CMAC in Houston, Texas. How do we go about engaging you all to produce that projection document and also sign up for the Discovery Day?
So when it comes to coming to Discovery Day, really what it comes down to is the projection document's pretty easy. So if you've been in contact with Jeff or myself, via email but not verbally, we probably need to set up a phone meeting and then be able to give you the information. Being in Houston, obviously it's easy for you to come or not to come to Discovery Day. So we just have a few pieces of the puzzle we need to put in place, finding your area, getting your projection document done, being sure that every piece is in line for you. And so when you come to Discovery Day, it's not just, again, about checking us out, but it's really about the digging in deeper with who we are. And it's really we call it Decision Day. It's at that day you should know whether you're moving forward or you're not. Like after that day is done, you should be able to look at it and be like, this is not for me, or I'm moving forward. Typically people that come to Discovery Day, they want to take that next step. They want to be on board, and this is a final piece they're putting into play for themselves.
Okay. So I should just reach out to schedule a phone discussion.
Yeah. Have you received it? Have you been through our system and reached out to through like our franchising system, like through our website, or have you emailed in or anything?
I did the former, and I got an email from you. So
okay.
I guess
Wonderful.
I should just follow up on that.
Yeah. Send me an email back. Let's set up a time to talk.
Okay.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thanks for your question. All right. Well, if there's any more questions, I'd love to be able to answer any questions you might have. It would be, again, it is *6, and we'll be able to dive in. And do you have a question?
Hi, Marty. This is Dale here in Georgia. I'm looking at the curriculum roadmap, and I can't recall. Is this set up that as an owner or the director of the center that I can learn some of these different concepts and then teach the kids, or do I have to be very proficient in whether it's JavaScript or mapping already and hire somebody that knows this stuff and then teaches the kids? Does that make sense?
Yes, we teach and coach you how to teach and coach the Code Ninjas curriculum. Obviously, we suggest that all of our franchisees and all of our senseis go through the Code Ninjas curriculum. But we teach and coach you how to teach it. And we have the online resources and human resources to be able to guide you and coach you through the entire curriculum. You'll find that like myself, I'm a 43-year-old man compared to a 7-year-old. My brain obviously works and is more developed than theirs. So the concepts that we're trying to teach them, I will catch on to a lot faster, because this is really about problem-solving skills, critical thinking skills, collaboration, leadership. So looking at it like that, you have to remember that we're we're working with a 7, 8, 9-year-old, so we'll get some concepts a lot faster. So you'll see that you'll go through the curriculum quite a bit faster than, what could take a 7-year-old 2 months may take you, a week.
Sure. Okay, cool.
Wonderful. All right, thank you. Hi, you have a question? Hello, do you have a question?
Hi, my name is Raj. I just joined in the very middle of the meeting.
Okay.
Didn't get an opportunity to, kind of listen from the very beginning. But I was just curious if any sessions which are happening over the Fridays between, close to the noon, we sometimes find it challenging to join. Are there any opportunities to have sessions like this on weekends or a little late in the day, like after 6 or something?
All these sessions are always recorded, so you can always go. You can follow. We have a YouTube link that allows you to listen to all of these calls that we've ever done. So you're able to go back through and jump on any one of those.
Okay. And if there are any specific questions that we want to, kind of have a one-on-one connect, ask is like, does it always has to be scheduled during a certain period in time during the day?
You can always connect with your representative, which would be Jeff Thames or myself. Connect with us directly, and we set up a time to connect with you one-on-one.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Wonderful. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for taking some time today. If there's any last questions, again, there's no time limit to this. It's *6, and it allows you to kind of virtually raise your hand. So if you have any questions, now would be the time before we wrap up for the day. Again, we are experiencing great growth, and we are truly excited, not just growth in terms of, we're growing in this way, but our franchisees are truly, truly great to work with, and we enjoy every day and everything that we're doing and how we're moving forward. And we really look forward to impacting communities all over the country and hopefully soon to be all over the world. So I want to say thanks again. We do have another question. Hi, you have a question?
Oh, hi. It's Lucky here from California. I can't remember how long you guys have been around, but my question would be, what's the average break even? Like, how long would an average franchisee would get to break even on their investment?
Well, obviously there's a lot of unanswered questions there. So what I would suggest that you do is work directly with myself or Jeff Thames. There's spending habits and rent costs, and there's a ton of questions that we need to get answered in there. So it's really not a typical ROI time. But we provide you with a pretty nice projection document that you're able to set goals for yourself, for your desired ROI or your desired monthly net revenue or net income that you're looking for. Unfortunately, in the franchising world, and we are pretty new, so our FDD only states has limited data in it currently. So the new FDD, which is released in April, will have a lot more data, a year's worth of revenue in it. Currently, right now, our FDD only states 54 days of revenue. We held off as long as we could. That 54 days generated just more than $32,000 in revenue. We enrolled 68 students, and we averaged around $190 per student. That was a monthly paying tuition. Currently, obviously I can't go over our current numbers, but we're looking forward to April when we can actually release the new revenue numbers. We're very excited for everybody to be able to see that in our new FDD, which will be out in April of next year.
Right. Understood. Okay. Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you. Again, thanks everybody for taking your time today to join our executive conference call with Code Ninjas. It's been a pleasure talking with you all. If you have more questions, you can reach out to me directly if you'd like. That's Marty@codeninjas.com, and I'll definitely be able to work with you, connect you with the right people on the inside if need, whatever need be. Thanks again for your time today, and I look forward to working with you all in the near future.